You've probably noticed that the dates and locations for my videos are jumping around a bit, and this one is no exception. This time we're off to Charlton House, a 10-minute walk from Charlton Station. It was built in 1607 on the orders of King James I for his eldest son, Prince Arthur. It is a fine example of Jacobean architecture. Over the years, many ghostly occurrences have been reported at Charlton House. There have been reports of a ghostly grey lady who has been seen walking in the garden, carrying a bundle which resembles a baby. A number of staff at the house have alleged that personal belongings have mysteriously disappeared before reappearing in a completely different location, and that the lift has been heard moving, although no one was operating it. Many staff refuse to enter the attic because of the atmosphere there. Something similar is said of the cellars. During restoration work, the mummified body of a baby was discovered in an old fireplace within the mansion. This is often described as the child of a servant, who was either stillborn or dispatched in panic by a terrified parent. Charlton House also has reports of ghostly rabbits, which are former pets. They're seen in one of the rooms, and shadows walking around illuminated in the light under a door are coming from the room next door. Of all the spirits at Charlton House, the most active is probably Sir William Langthorne. At 85 years old, he was still desperate for an heir. He married a 17-year-old girl, Mary Aston. Unfortunately, he died 2 months after the wedding in 1715. His spirit is said to wander through the rooms looking for a young lady to give him an heir. Indeed, young women staying there overnight have heard the doorknobs of their bedrooms turning, but no one enters. Others have experienced their backsides pinched by invisible fingers. I attended the ASAP field training course in perhaps 1995. The overnight investigation was staged in Charlton House. A very impressive building indeed. As soon as I entered the building, my attention was drawn to the stairs, and I could feel that energy was building there, especially on the upper floors. I mentioned this at the start to the event coordinator, but I don't think this was taken seriously. After the induction into the ASAP way of doing things, we had a break, and then the investigation proper started. We were split into groups that varied in their position. The starting point for my group was in the bedroom, an allegedly notoriously haunted location. I found that I couldn't settle, not for the bedroom, but for the area of the kitchen. It had been made into self-contained flats at one point. There was someone moving about, and I kept getting a flitting dark human-shaped shadow in that area. As the investigation crept on in silence, apart from a few quiet snores from one here unnamed member who had made himself comfortable on the bench and gone to sleep, I saw a movement to my left, and concentrating in the darkness saw a strange foot or so high, almost jumping figure, all arms and legs I thought, and then I thought, a small monkey, perhaps even a rabbit. Who knows? It was dark. I don't do investigations in the dark myself, because, as with the example above, you can't see anything. I use red light to gently illuminate instead. When the investigation for this area ended, we had another break, and caught up on what had been happening to those in other groups. One member, on the landing of the stairs, heard the stairs creak, one after another, as though someone was walking down from the upper floor, as I had predicted. It was during this break, when others had taken themselves off elsewhere, and I had much of the place to myself. I was in a room off the long hall, when the atmosphere suddenly changed. It started to charge up, that's the best I can describe it, and in my mind, into the room, swept a very distinct image of ladies and gentlemen coming in from the hall through the far door, their costumes quite distinct, and the whole atmosphere of a ball in full cry. The figures becoming more distinct all the time. Then someone from the present entered the room, stomping, crashing, and making much noise, and the vision faded away very fast. The last area we were sent to was at the entrance to the library by the lift. Although this was a very tranquil area, I could feel in my mind spirits moving down the corridor that we did not have permission to investigate, which really was a shame. Charlton House was a very interesting experience, and I am convinced a very haunted location.